Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. We're with you with another episode of Tea, Milk, Two Sugars. Today, we're talking about another question that our parents are asking. Parents are asking, who really owns our children's AI behavior profiles? Because AI is going to schools. It has already gone to schools, and in China, they have trialed it and in a few of their schools, um, they put these sensors on the kids' heads. It's like a wearable technology. It's really simple, but it measures your kids' level of focus, which is good. If they are yawning, if they are bored, which is good. Um, they are checking the eye movements where your child is looking, which is good. So far, so good. However, the data of your kids' behavior creates something called um, a behavioral profile, right? So that behavioral profile gets stored in the cloud or gets stored um, on a database. Now, the concern is not what AI can do for your child. The concern is what your child is doing for that data and for that AI, because that data is going to get stored somewhere. And even if the school tells you they're not going to use it elsewhere, right? As parents, we're still concerned because of a simple fact that we don't create things to not use them. We create things to use them, to utilize them, right? So, where is my child's data being used? Who can access it? And how long is going to get stored for? And also, what is it that I'm consenting to, right? So, am I giving you consent perpetually? Is it forever? Or is it for a short while? And once the school year is finished, the data gets deleted, right? Which I doubt is going to be used that way. They're going to be using the data for creating a profile of your child, of my child, right? They're doing it for the long term. They're not investing millions upon billions to use it for one school year and that would be the end of it. No, okay, we're not that simple-minded. We know they're going to use it long term. That data, is it going to be used for the future of my child? Is it going to be affecting um, the job hunting process? Are they going to be dedicated a score? That's a definite yes, because the data can be stored and can be organized by quality of the data, right? So when they started the schools as we know them, back in the back end of 1800s, early 1900s, um, it was just to create obedient workforce, just to make sure your kid can go to school for 4 years and regularly to show the employers that yeah, this person, this kid, this young person is capable of turning up, showing up um, consistently and getting a degree. And that degree graded them like a product. Grade A student, grade B student, grade C student, right? Or grade D student. And that affected it's in some countries it still does. That affects the future, um, uh, their career basically, right? Then we sent our kids to universities. So they invented this thing called universities. So we sent our kids to universities. They gave them a degree. We put the parents and the child in debt in the hopes of getting a job and still can't even do that, right? So people are in debt for no reason. And on top of putting the students in debt, which is a really unfair advantage, in my view. When you start, it's like starting a football match 2-0, right? Against you, not for you. So that is so they're already on the back foot, so already in debt, and on top of that, we're adding interest to the loans, student loans. So we are pressuring them before they even before the game started. Okay, so now on top of that, recently we are adding AI to our schools, right? We're gonna, it's gonna happen. Okay, it's not like if it's gonna happen, it will definitely happen. So there are two types of parents: parents who know about it and they know they have this thing called consent, because you're gonna consent to that before they bring it to your school. They're gonna get their parents' consent, because the images of your child, the video, facial profile, personality profile, everything is going to get stored in a database. The parents' concern is who's going to use it, who's going to access it. In the post Jeffrey Epstein world, people are concerned. They want to know how their children's data is going to be used. People are concerned, right? And we're not sensationalizing it. We are just bringing it to people's attention, right? Because some of us are going to be in charge of implementing that. Certainly not me, but some of us, as in people. We are people, aren't we? So some people are going to be in charge of implementing it. Please be kind to our children. When you give in your consent, please make sure what you're consenting to, right? What you giving them your consent for using the data for, right? Because you can say, yeah, it's going to be all right. And then once you find out what the data is being used, what the data is being used for, you're going to go on TikTok and dance about it, right? And rant about it, because that's what people do on TikTok, isn't it? They either dance about things or rant about things. Okay, so they don't read the consent forms. People usually just sign it, right? And then they go on TikTok and go, I don't know, I didn't know what I was giving my consent for, something like that, right? And then they dance to it or something. So please open your ears, open your eyes before you sign anything. Now, and by the way, AI is not coming. AI has already come, in case you're wondering. What we're talking about today is who really owns our children's AI behavior profile. Okay, that's what we're talking about in tea, milk to sugars. Today's episode. Milk to Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We have the pleasure of being with Paulette Hallam, the genius who created Jack and Walter trilogy. Paulette, please very briefly tell our viewers and listeners about you, what you do, and what we're going to be talking about today. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a scary subject for parents. I have many parents who are worried about it already. It is being used in schools as we speak. Children are asked to ask the AI for questions. So if the teacher has moved on and you're stuck, instead of putting your hand up, you go to the AI button. The AI button will then jump in, and in some schools that are trialing it, will try and support you. I know this to be fact because my husband's been monitoring the AI. So it's one of those things where it's already there. Let's not kid ourselves. What we need to do is understand it. It's too easy to go, I don't get it. I don't understand it. We have to understand it. We can't tell our kids what they can and can't do if we don't know what they're doing. So it's about understanding AI, understanding the ups, the downs, the in betweens. There are lots of positives, lots and lots of positives, but there are equally a very large, balanced group of people who are going to be using this data for reasons that we will not want. And we need to make sure that our children are protected. So, from my perspective as a parent, as a counselor therapist, as a author, as a concerned parent of, I say hundreds and thousands because I look after all the kids, it worries me greatly that we don't know what's going on. Back to you, Cyrus.
Thank you, Paulette. I think you didn't come in front of the camera today as just an expert. You never do. You always come in front of the camera as an expert and as a parent because you are both. Which one of them is more important than the other today? Is it the parents talking or is it the expert talking predominantly, Paulette?
Parent. I've come with the parent view. I have all the information, but I've always got my parent hat on because I think there's
Mm-hmm.
so many parents that don't know what's going on. So I need to be
Yeah,
the parent for them.
yeah, absolutely. You don't know the knowledge. It's new. It's fine if you don't know the knowledge. As a parent, if you don't know about it, don't worry, you will know about it, right? Um, if you don't ask the questions is the concern, not you not knowing, right? It's never lack of knowledge that is the concern. It's lack of questioning it, right? Lack of questioning what they are doing. Because at the end of the day, no matter how how much of an expert you are, when they store your kids' data and it's out of your control, and you're already concerned to it, that would be awful because you had the chance to stop it, and or um, shape it, and you didn't, and that's a very awful feeling. So we're just stopping that from happening before it happens. At least we're trying to, right? So you can learn the right questions to ask them, right? So before you sign the terms and conditions, read it, please. This is not Apple iPhone terms and conditions that you sign for or Samsung without even asking questions about it, even though you should. So, and remember, if enough number of people ask questions about it, it will become a thing, right? So we set the tone. Parents set the tone. If you're not interested in knowing, then when they implement it, they will implement it with absolute impunity, right? So, or lack thereof, right? So, shall I say? Now, the first question that we need to be focusing on is AI in classrooms really about improving education, or is it about collecting behavioral data for our children, on our children? So, um, what's going to happen to that behavioral data? How are they going to use it? Is it going to be forever, or is what we're talking about just air quotes conspiracy theory? Because we've learned conspiracy theories today are simply facts tomorrow, and it has been proven before. Okay, it's not all the time, but it has been proven before. Um, I refer you to what the Ministry of Justice in the United States was saying about Jeffrey Epstein files, right? So they were saying it was all a conspiracy theory. Was it? It was not. So, if the children's data is used in ways that it shouldn't, who's going to be responsible for it? Who should we talk to, right? Where should we go to? Who's going to regulate it? Okay, so the data is being stored, right? So, if the questions your children is asking is later on used against her or against him, what you going to do about that? What can you do? Because in his or her profile, those questions get stored, and of course, again, back to the original point, schools don't gather data to not use it, right? So, what's the scope that they're going to use the data for? That's also another question. So, Paulette, number one, your bread and butter, Paulette. Please go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to give you two responses here. I've got an ethical response and I've got a moral response. So my ethical response is that data collection should be limited, transparent, proportionate to the educational benefit. My moral response is children should never be treated as products whose behaviour is more valuable than their education. So, yes, of course, there will be opportunities. Yes, of course, there'll be learning. There'll be the opportunity to identify students that need extra support. But ultimately, who is holding on to that data? Period.
Wow, that was very strong. I loved it. Um, if all parents ask the question with the same frame mind as yours, um, the um, uh, profile profiling really. This is like what FBI does on criminals, right? They profile. Why? Because they want to be ahead of the criminals, right? So that's why they collect data on them and use it. I'm not saying these two things are the same because they're not. They're definitely not. But um, um, they needs to be a proper structure before they implement it because I don't want um, I don't want to see the day where they come out and say, "Oh, we are very sorry. There was a data leak in the school, and criminals now have access to images, um, behavioral patterns of your child." Because there is this thing called insight, right? INSIGHT, insight. Because data turns into insight, and then insight is usable, right? So imagine in the wrong hands what things they can do with them, right? So, and mind you, people like Jeffrey Epstein um, came to pass before all of this data thing, right? AI thing. Imagine what kind of stuff they can do with the knowledge that AI will give them. So, we need guarantees that data would not be used for purposes other than education. Who's going to be accessing it? Who's going to be storing it? Where are you going to be storing it? Right? Number two, who owns my child's behavioral profile and who will access it in 20 to 30 or 30 years? Now, that is a question that sends shivers down any parent's spine, right? So, what do you think, Paulette? Is that a question we should be asking?
100%, 100%. And a 4-year-old who does, or a 5-year-old who does an entrance exam, or if they want to join a private school, for example, or if they do their stats or SATs at age 10 or 11 or 12, they actually use those as a trajectory, a profiling to say what that child will achieve at GCSE or A level, whether or not that child will have a chance of getting to university. So believe me, data is already being used. Let's not have any misconception about that. But the issue here is when you're profiling children, you're now going to be able to do it on everything, on their reading, their writing, their how they say things, their accents. I mean, absolutely everything. So the ethical response to this question is individuals should have a clear right over their personal data, including access, correction, deletion, and appropriate responses. So that's the ethical response. So is it the parent, or once the child becomes an adult, do they take over the data? And do they have any rights? The moral response is a child's past should not become a permanent record that shapes their future without their consent. So
Wow.
I really have an issue that at what point does the ownership become the child? And what point does it become the adult, the parent? And then does it belong to the school? Do the school have contracts? Does it belong to the technology company? Does it belong to the data company? Does it belong to the people that have been actually collating the data? There's so many questions here that I would like you to put your two penneth in on.
Oh, absolutely. You you raised a valid point, Paulette. Don't let my child's past become his or her future, please. Okay, so that is something that every parent is or can be concerned about, right? So let's say at some point a company like Indeed pays enough money to the school, right? And says, okay, so we've got an applicant. How was this applicant in school? I'm paying you good money to give me that data, right? If the school owns that data, then parents have no say in whether it should be given or shouldn't be shared. And so basically, then um, the data that they have collected within the past 10, 15 years gets used by um, a recruiter, a recruitment agency. So that is not fair. What if that child has changed? It was misbehaving before and has changed now. So there is no hope for redemption. If you do something, it's permanent, it's perpetual, right? So it's not fair on a child who did something as so right now, in terms of um, accountability, a child before the age of, I don't know, I think it's 12, if they commit any crimes, they won't go to prison. And 12 and beyond, yes, they can be sent to youth juvies centers, etc., etc., right? So um, don't let the child's past become the child's future. Okay, that's one of the things that that's form that you're going to be signing for. You need to make sure that won't happen. That's one of those things you need to prevent, right? Um, the next one is, if AI can measure attention today, what will it measure tomorrow? Obedience, personality, emotional response, political beliefs, perhaps? Wow. So if, oh, this is too much. This is too much. So the things they can do with this data, okay, is I am already overwhelmed, Paulette. I am already overwhelmed. Um, why don't you give us your view on this, Paulette? Because um, personally, whenever I am overwhelmed with something, I come to you and you tell me, is it right, is it wrong, or how else we can look at it. Now, this is one of those moments I have come to you to ask you what your view is. Please go ahead. This got to be some other people's question as well.
Has to be, has to be. So AI systems are becoming capable of analyzing increasingly complex patterns, but using them to infer sensitive traits, major scientific and legal concerns must be very high on all of our lists of what is right and what is wrong. Strong safeguards are needed to prevent this intrusive or discriminatory profiling. Again, I've always got an ethical and a moral response. My ethical response is this: AI should never assess sensitive personal characteristics unless there is a compelling, lawful, and well protected reason. Morally, every child deserves the freedom to develop without being psychologically analyzed or classified by machines. What I'm trying to say is, when people say we could have known that person was going to be a killer when they were 6 because of their behavior, then you may be able to say, well, psychological analysis could have given us that information and we could have put them on a list. But does that mean that the 1% that would have been resolved means that 99% need to be analysed? I say no. I say, don't you dare. I say, how dare you even consider analysing my child at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then again at 18, 19, 20? They could be two completely different people, got in with a completely different group of friends, change their complete attitudes towards everything, become an academic genius, and just not had the help that was needed. Perhaps they were dyslexic. So let's not allow AI to control and judge our children. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Paulette. Right.
Know exactly when someone isn't paying attention.
白色就是你可能跟网络还没有连接好。
These headbands measure each student's level of concentration. The information is then directly sent to the teacher's computer and to parents. China has big plans to become a global leader in artificial intelligence. It has enabled a cashless economy where people make purchases with their faces. A giant network of surveillance cameras with facial recognition helps police monitor citizens. Meanwhile, some schools offer glimpses of what the future of high-tech education in the country might look like.
Good job.
Classrooms have robots that analyze students' health and engagement levels. Students wear uniforms with chips that track their locations. There are even surveillance cameras that monitor how often students check their phones or yawn during classes. These gadgets have alarmed Chinese netizens. But schools say it wasn't hard for them getting parental consent to enroll kids into what is one of the world's largest experiments in AI education.
You can hear this, Paulette, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. It's terrifying.
Thank you. Yeah, we're going to continue.
A program that's supposed to boost students' grades while also feeding powerful algorithms.
为了就是国家的这个研究呀、发展呀，我觉得是没有问题的。
The government has poured billions of dollars into the project, bringing together tech giants, startups, and schools. We got exclusive access to a primary school a few hours outside of Shanghai.
同学们早上好。
To see firsthand how AI tech is being used in the classroom. For this 5th grade class, the day begins with putting on a brainwave sensing gadget. Students then practice meditating.
现在想象我们眉心有一点柔和的光芒绽放。
The device is made in China and has 3 electrodes, 2 behind the ears and 1 on the forehead. These sensors pick up electrical signals sent by neurons in the brain. The neural data is then sent in real time to the teacher's computer. So while students are solving math problems, a teacher can quickly find out who's paying attention and who's not.
说明这段时间他是有点在那走神的。
A report is then generated that shows how well the class was paying attention. It even details each student's concentration level at 10-minute intervals. It's then sent to a chat group for parents.
就是他可以看到每个人的评分。
The reports are detailed, but whether these devices really work and what they exactly measure isn't as clear. We were curious if the headbands could actually measure concentration, so one of our reporters tried on the device.
那我没有感觉自己特别集中。
This is a new technology with still fairly little research behind it.
Theodore Zanto is a neuroscientist at the University of California, San Francisco. He was surprised to learn that this tech, called electroencephalography, also known as EEG, is being used in the classroom on children. It's usually used by doctors in hospitals and labs.
EEG is very susceptible to artifacts. And so if you are itchy or just a little fidgety, or the EEG wasn't set up properly so that the electrodes didn't have a good contact, affects the signal.
Despite the chances for false readings, Teachers told us the headbands have forced students to become more disciplined.
上课回答我的问题，就是
You look concerned, Paulette. You look overwhelmed.
You've just passed the overwhelm button to me, yeah.
It's not done yet.
I think it's not done yet. No, I know.
No,
I think
I'm not done yet.
it's terrifying. Don't, please. I don't know watch.
You know, this is something that I was talking about, right? So, I know that they're gonna call me conspiracy theorist. I know they're gonna call me all everything they want. And that doesn't really matter. You know what really matters is our children, right? My dad always said, call me whatever you want, but just don't call me late for dinner. So the point I'm trying to make is we are beyond that point of getting cancelled and worrying about what's going to happen to our YouTube channels, and it doesn't matter anymore, right? We are parents, right? We are parents. We're here to ask the right questions and get the results that is best for our children, because we're here on this planet for a short while, for a limited number of years, right? And you never know what's going to happen tomorrow, but you can do things to make tomorrow a little bit better for your kids, right?
他们的声音会比平常更响亮。
Teachers say the students now pay better attention during class, and that has made them study harder and achieve higher scores.
上课认真听讲，作业做的基本上是全对的。
But not all students are as enthusiastic. This fifth grader, whom we caught dozing off in class, told us his parents punish him for low attention scores. And that kind of data adds a new kind of pressure for students.
你想啊，如果在一次考试全班人都考了95分以上，就你考了一个85，你会不会感觉你有一种
Companies we interviewed said the data can go to government-funded research projects. We spoke to parents who were unclear about where the data ended up, and they didn't seem to care too much. Santos says there's likely no privacy protection at all.
In a classroom, if you're trying to make an assessment of an individual student, you really can't anonymize it.
Experts and citizens alike are sounding alarms about various aspects of the country's huge push into artificial intelligence. These classrooms are laboratories for future generations. And while these new tools may potentially help some 200 million students raise their grades, just how this all works out won't be apparent until they become adult citizens.
What are you doing to me? What are you doing
a
to
little
me?
bit too much, wasn't it? That was a little bit too much.
Yeah. I've got a tear. I had a tear roll down my cheek.
It is coming. Shall I say it's already come? So, we need to be asking the right questions, because it's going to be. We've got a lot of viewers in Sweden, and we've got a lot of them in. Let me check the list. United States of America, Singapore, Germany, China, Brazil, Netherlands, France, Russia, Sweden, Vietnam, United Kingdom, Hong Kong, Indonesia, South Korea. We have a lot of viewers in Asia as well, of course. South Korea, Japan, China, I already mentioned. India. Now back to America. Canada. In Europe, we have Poland. I didn't know we have viewers in Poland. Hi, my Polish friends. Turkey. Hi, my Turkish friends. Spain. Hi, my Spanish friends. Congratulations on winning the World Cup. We have viewers in Argentina, Luxembourg, Bangladesh, Mexico, Austria, Iraq, Cambodia, Pakistan, South Africa, Ireland, and many more. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. So these are the questions that we need to be asking in all of these countries, because the company who's collecting the data doesn't really care about me and you or our child. They just care about staying profitable so they can make more money, right? At your child's cost. So it's not what AI at this stage, it's not what AI can do for your child, is what your child is doing for AI, because they are training their data collection chatbots. Or bots, should I say, not just for chat, just bots. So the next question that we need to be focusing on, I think we covered that a little bit. Could my child's future opportunities be influenced by an AI-generated behavior score rather than the actual abilities? Yes, is the short answer. Long answer will come from Paulette in 1 minute. Please go ahead, Paulette.
Again, I'm going to go with the ethical, and I'm going to go with the moral. So my ethical response is that automated assessments should never replace fair human evaluation in life-changing decisions on your child. It should be about the whole person, not what the machine was able to pick up. Ever. Moral response. A child's potential should be defined by growth, achievement, and not by an algorithmic label. I find the whole idea contemptible. And the reason it's contemptible is because there are children who have got autism. There are children who have got ADHD. There are children who have got all kinds of ND changes and differences. And they happen at different times in their life. They might come in at 7. It might come in at 14. They might suddenly be aware of it at 15, 16. And they've struggled with attention all the way through school. They may be dyslexic. They may have got all kinds of horrendous situations going on at home. They could be moving from house to house to house in the foster care system. None of that would be taken into consideration. None of it. It would be, how did you perform in that test? You got 15 out of 100. You are an E student. Forget D. You're an E student. You're on this trajectory. You're expected to fall off the cliff. How dare something be able to do that?
Okay, parents who are watching, would you like what just Paulette said happen to your child? I sincerely hope the answer is no, right? So, Paulette, I can't blame you for getting emotional over what's going to happen to the future of data collection. However, what I've noticed is I am equally emotional about the matter. And in the past, the schooling system's job was to create obedient member of staff for future employers, right? Now it's different, and things, they have taken it further, right? The education system has taken it further, and it's going to give the future employers insights instead of just general outlook, right? So we are worried right now. The result of the schooling system is that kids are worried about how they look in front of a camera. That's it, right? So how will I be judged by other human beings? That is the concern right now. But I guarantee in 100 years or less, sorry, it's going much faster than that. In 50 years from now, people's concern is, how will I be judged by the algorithm? How will this affect my score? there is actually an episode of Black Mirror, and I think you can find it on Netflix or something. I watched it years ago. So there was this scoring dystopian city, this dystopian country where people had scores and they would rate each other. People would rate people, and that rating would affect their chances of getting loans, getting accommodation, and being served in restaurants or bars or whatever. So that's based on what I can remember. So yes, thank you, Stephen. Stephen's saying this is really interesting information. Yes, it's just we're just sharing what we already know, and by the way, we can't control yet, right? So the concern is the level of control, who's controlling the data, who's storing it, what's going to happen with that data, okay? Don't give us a second Jeffrey Epstein, please. We don't want that, right? Imagine Jeffrey Epstein as a company. No, we don't need it. We don't want it, okay? So, and by the way, no arrests were made regarding Jeffrey Epstein, right? So who's to tell what's going to happen with the data that are collecting on our children, right? So after that bitter experience, we want to know what's going to happen, how it's going to happen, right? And who's going to access it. Are you going to allow third parties to access the data because they pay you for it? When was the last time a payment stopped you from doing something, right? When people get paid, and governments get paid, they wouldn't say no to it. Usually they wouldn't, right? There's very, very little they would say no to these days. So yeah, okay. Are children being taught critical thinking, or are they being trained to trust algorithms more than their own judgment? Imagine a generation of, I know it sounds stupid, but imagine a generation of people who stop on an escalator, which is disconnected from electricity. They wouldn't know. They should go up, they should go down. They are on an escalator. Usually escalator takes them from A to B, right? So that is just an example. Obviously, people don't get stopped on escalators. It's a terrible feeling when you can't trust your own judgment, right? What does the algorithm? What would right now you teach people? What would Walter do, right? In the future, people are going to be asking, what would algorithm tell us to do, right? Imagine that. And this generation, the current generation, is spending a lot of time on a screen. So that means the number one source of learning and fact checking is their screen, which, by the way, is out of your control as a parent. You can't tell them what to visit, what not to visit. I mean, you can, but they won't listen. Right now, they're talking about under 16-year-olds not accessing the internet. But there's also this concern that under 16-year-olds, 15, 14, 15, 16, they have the knowledge of an IT expert in 90s or early 2000s, right? A 14-year-old kid today has more IT knowledge than an IT expert back in 90s or early 2000s. That is scary. Okay, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to wake you up. That's all. So, in 1 minute, Paulette, please can you explain about number 5? We are running out of time.
Okay.
Number 6, sorry. Number 6.
6.
6, yeah. 5 we already covered.
Yeah, no, 6 is really about monitoring, right? And as I say, that for me, there's two things. The ethical response would be monitoring should be proportionate, necessary, and respect for the children's privacy and autonomy. And the moral response is children need spaces where they can learn, make mistakes, express themselves, and without feeling they're going to be constantly judged. I teach critical thinking to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds. Where will that come into this? It's just going to be a machine telling them what to do, how to think, when to think it. That is very scary to me, because how are they going to grow up being able to think for themselves? Or are they not going to need to?
Oh, wow. Thank you. It's not a nice feeling, you're constantly being watched. Wow. Number 7. If every mistake is permanently recorded, how will children ever learn, grow, and reinvent themselves? How would you feel about that, Paulette?
The questions, even the questions make me shiver.
I know.
Okay, so my ethical response is that personal data should not be stored indefinitely without a clear educational purpose. 1. That's what you're signing up for. That's what you parents need to know, okay? Personal data should not be stored indefinitely without a clear educational purpose. This is not to be grading your child as they become an adult. This is then the adult's decisions as to what happens to that data. The moral response is every child deserves the chance to leave yesterday's mistakes behind. Leave yesterday's mistakes behind and build a better future for themselves. So let's say they did make a mistake. You can't hold that against them for life, but it's going to be on their score. It's going to be part of their data analysis according to this system. Just think about it.
Well, this is going to create a whole generation of people who are extremely careful and are good at hiding things, don't you think?
The hiding things, 100%. That's never good. That's never good. Secrecy is terrifying to me, because as soon as you start talking about secrets, that's what Mr. Epstein was an absolute, A1 student at. So we're going to create the similar sort of mentality. No, but I'm serious. It's that mentality of secrecy, because everything is underground if everything's being watched above ground. Just think about that.
Wow.
If everything's being watched above ground, it goes underground. That is the law. That we've seen it happen. So it'll only happen again.
Some people say Epstein did what Epstein did because he knew he wouldn't be reprimanded or arrested or jailed, and he got arrested. He got jailed for a short while. Then they said he died in jail, but before that, 1 minute of the prison jail cell cameras is missing. 1 minute is missing from 8 cameras at the same time. And you might think, okay, the guards were watching him, but no. Both guards fell asleep. Nappy time. Before this incident happened, and they said I think I read somewhere they put him in an unnamed grave somewhere. Anyone who's got a 3-year-old child is laughing at this, and I think the 3-year-old child is laughing as well alongside them. Like how the responses that people in power provide is proportionate to the level of intelligence they find us, right? So they must think that we cannot understand or we cannot think analytically, that they give us those kind of responses. Okay, so so that person is dead. How about the rest of them? So no arrests whatsoever. What does that tell you? That tells you whatever the people in charge do, because there is no accountability, they are doing it with absolute impunity, right? So who's to tell? The data is not going to be collected and be handed to child traffickers. That is the concern that parents have right now. Okay, what's happening with child traffickers? Well, nothing until you arrest them. And they rarely get arrested because they are well connected, right? And imagine data being fed to well connected child traffickers who never get arrested because they are really good at their job. That's something we don't want. Okay, so until some arrests happen, until some accountability is provided or proven, we don't want the AI system. We're not ready for it yet. You're not ready for it yet, Mr. Such and such at the government. You're not ready for collecting our children's data yet. I know you are. You meaning well, but you're not ready yet because you're not able to protect them. So the moment you prove to parents that you are able to protect their children, yes, of course, they will allow you to collect their data. You've proven already that you are capable of keeping our children safe. That's why we send them to schools, and that's not always the case. You can't always keep them protected. You can't always protect them, but there is an acceptable level of safety standards in place. That's why we send them to school. Now, can you prove to parents that you are able to keep the data safe? What are the measures that you got in place to give the parents the peace of mind that they need, right? How are you going to use the data? Again, parents need to be asking that question. Number 8. Could AI eventually know my child better than I do? Oof. And who benefits most from that knowledge? Imagine somebody knowing your child better than you. I don't want to imagine that, but it's happening. What do you think, Paulette?
So they're already, according to the system, able to detect behavioural patterns. I've read psychological reports that say that people can fully understand child's relationships, values, or lived experiences already by the systems they've got in place. The greatest benefit, they say, this is what they say, is that they'll be able to help a child put them in the right position to seek commercial or institutional advantage. In other words, if that child is falling behind, if that child is behavior issues, then they will direct them in the juvenile detention, or they'll go into further education, or they'll go to the factory. It's kind of like A, B, or C. Which lane does your child fit? The ethical response is children's data should only be used in ways that clearly serve and benefit. I'm getting annoyed now. They serve and benefit their best interests. The moral response is that knowledge about a child should empower the child and the family, not create power over them. That's my fear, Cyrus. It's about somebody else having power over your child and knowing what they think that child needs or wants when you know better as the parent. You gave birth to that child. You've known that child since it was a baby. How dare someone tell you that they know your child better than you do? And that is very scary for me. Back to you.
Well, I'm sure there are parents at home who are half as annoyed as you are, and they already feel they need to ask questions. And there are parents out there who are as annoyed as you are, and they are probably going online, sharing their thoughts with their parents, because the best way to tackle these problems is to be ready for it and do something about it. You know, in the UK, when the Prime Minister said we're going to be applying those digital whatever, there was a massive pushback, and the digital IDs were never implemented. I mean, not yet. So the new Prime Minister has promised to abolish that digital ID scheme. I suppose for now. I don't know. Is it forever? Is it for now? I don't know. But I'm not saying that cost his job, the last Prime Minister, but it certainly didn't do him favors. So when you want to implement a change in the society, if it's sudden, you're going to get massive pushback, right? Especially in the UK, the politicians are still elected by people. So my interpretation is these AI companies are going to start from less democratic countries. So as you can see, they've already implemented in China. Why? Because in China, the system of government is different, right? So it's different than the one in England, right? So so these AI companies usually grow where there is no control, or there is corruption, or there is authority or autocracy. So authority kind of form of government, right? So less democratic countries. So there is data centers as we speak, and they are growing like mushrooms here and there, right? And they use a lot of water to cool them down. They use a lot of electricity to keep them going, and all of a sudden, all of that concern about all of those environmental concerns have disappeared for some reason, right? So where are those pseudoscientists talking about global warming? As soon as the data centers started growing, those pseudoscientists became a little bit quiet, right? Now, a data center, wherever they might grow, they use a lot of energy, right? And that is something that people need to look into as well. Now, we're going to go to number 9. Are parents being fully informed about what data schools collect, how long it is stored, or who it might be shared with? Okay, so number 9, Paulette. So the question is, are parents being fully informed about what data schools collect, how long it is stored, and who it may be shared with? Remember, the nature of terms and conditions is it changes over time, right? As an example, when you opened your bank account, I don't know, 25 years ago, 30 years ago, there was some terms and conditions that you signed for, and then the rest of the terms and conditions has come to you through the years by a message, by a letter, and sometimes you continuing a service means consent, right? So that means whatever terms and conditions are on your bank account now, you already consented to that, right? You can't say, oh, I didn't sign it. Yes, you did. By continuing, sometimes the terms and conditions says, by continuing using our service from 2 weeks through 2 weeks from now, the terms and conditions become something like set in stone, right? And it becomes enforceable. So the terms and conditions might be, so my point is, at the beginning, when they present terms and conditions of data collection on your child, it might be something, And then over the years, it might change. So if you consented to it, please remember it's going to change in the future as well. Be mindful of that. In the video that we watched earlier, and if you haven't watched the video, you can rewind this episode and go and watch it. It was only a few minutes ago. In that episode, many people consented without even knowing what the ramifications are. They didn't even know what they were consenting to, and that is the worst bit. Okay, if there's one takeaway from this conversation is it needs to be be aware and be mindful of what you are giving your consent to. So number 9, Paulette, please go ahead.
Right. I'm going to be brief on this one because it's quite easy for me. Practices vary widely between schools, countries, technology providers, and transparency. It's not consistent. Everywhere is different. You've already pointed out that where there is a different form of authority, then there will be a lot less pushback. Where there is a democracy, what kind of democracy? But a democracy. This is the key.
Pseudo-democracy.
Pseudo-democracy, it's a good word, pseudo. Yeah. We need, as a collective, if we're not happy about something, we have the right to push back. And we've done it on several things recently. And it's been all over the news about it. If you get enough people and you get enough emotion behind something, you can push back. So parents need to be able to receive clear, understandable information before that data is collected. And that should be the law. So we need people like you and me and everyone else to go, whoa, let's take those T's and C's and let's just dissect them a bit. And let's run them through a couple of systems. Let's get a couple of lawyers to look at them. Let's actually really understand what we're being asked. That's my ask of you as parents. Schools and vendors, ethically, should communicate openly. They should discuss the data collection, the storage, the sharing, and the security. But they won't. The moral response is parents have a right to understand how information about their child is being handled. Can you see where I've taken that? I've taken it from, this is a major problem, everybody needs to be involved, to parents have a right. That's the key here. If we don't, as parents, stand up and say, I want to know what it is that my child did today with a machine on his head. We weren't told about that. Oh, don't worry, we're playing a game. No, you weren't. I want to know what you were doing. I, as somebody who is relatively ill most of the time, get told I can only have so many MRIs a year, so many CT scans a year, so many whatevers a year, because of what those machines do to my body. And yet we're prepared to put things on kids' heads that neuroscientists do not even know what the damage could be, let alone what the screens are doing or the phones are doing. We don't even know about these machines they're putting on children's heads. Let's just work out for a second. We're not scaremongering here. Well, we are, but we're not intending to. What we're trying to do is say, sit up, listen, and let's understand, as a parent, what is going on with your child.
Yeah, absolutely. If what we're doing causes in parents getting scared, good. It's about your child. You should be scared. They're going to use your data for unknown reasons, and if you're not scared about it, there's something wrong. No, we're not trying to just scare you, and we just trying to get you to ask the right questions before you say yes to something. Is it too much to ask for these days? No, I don't think so. So just be careful what you're saying yes to. Be careful what you say no to, right? So AI is extremely helpful. I couldn't create this show without AI. I mean, I could, but it would take a long while, right? But AI helps me on a daily basis in different aspects of my life. AI is very, very helpful in my life and in the life of many people that I know. Right? I have become a more effective writer. I have become a more effective videographer. I have become a more effective sound engineer. Why? And it's made me better at marketing. Why? Because it tells me where I was going wrong. Because it was impartial advice. It wasn't a person. It's not a person. It's just impartial. So that impartiality is there. Remember, guys, let me clarify on behalf of me and on behalf of Paulette. It's not the AI that you should be worried about. It's where the AI generated information and collected information is going to be used for and stored by human beings. Let me bring something else to your attention. 100% of the laws in the world are passed to protect you against other people and protect other people against you. Right? Why is it when you purchase a house, there's several pages of paper that you need to sign or digitally sign? Why? Because later on, people don't want to be liable or responsible for things they don't want to be responsible for anymore, right? So why is it when you purchase a vehicle, they get you to sign paperwork regarding it? Why is it that on a packet of nuts, on a packet of pistachios, it says it contains nuts? Because there are people out there who may not know pistachios or almonds are nuts, and they have nut allergies, right? I know, the whole thing is nuts, isn't it? So anyway, the point we were trying to make is AI is not the concern. The usage is. Okay? Remember, guns don't kill people. People kill people. And remember, AI won't give your information to child traffickers. AI won't give your child's information to likes of Jeffrey Epstein. People did it. Okay? Every bad thing on earth has happened by people, right? If you check Jeffrey Epstein's files, you never find out, oh, it was all a kangaroo from Australia. No, they are people who did all of these bad things. Okay, so what we are warning you against is the usage of AI, not the AI. Okay, so you need to stop looking at AI with this fear in your heart. Okay, AI is just a tool. And so is and potentially so is your local politician. But AI is just a tool. Okay, you're not supposed to be scared of a tool. You're supposed to just use it and utilize it and make your life better. So we need to change our view about AI a little bit. Okay, and as they say, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. The focus shouldn't be on being scared of AI. The focus should be on where is it that those AI companies, which are like with high and beyond this, like increasingly accelerating, that they're showing increasingly accelerating growth in your country and other countries. If you live in India, yes, there are companies in India who are actually growing in the AI usage and other aspects of AI knowledge, AI ethics, etc., etc. If you live in Bangladesh, if you live in America, England, Poland, Sweden, Germany, wherever you live, Saudi Arabia, wherever you live, AI is growing, and it's And it's not AI taking over. Remember, it's people using AI taking over, right? So remember, AI has already been there. It's an algorithm, okay? So you've been using it in your washing machine for decades, right? That's an algorithm. When you finished the washing cycle, go for a spin. When you're done with the spin, stop. That's an algorithm, right? Your printer is an algorithm. When you're done printing, push the paper out and stop printing, right? Stop printing and push the paper out. That's it. That's an algorithm, right? So everything uses an algorithm. The microphone I'm using stops the noises coming through the microphone, just hopefully collects my voice only, right? So AI is everywhere, right? And has been everywhere for a long while. Please don't be scared of it. Please study it and be more knowledgeable about it and learn to ask the right questions about it, because the more you know about it, the better questions you will ask about it. The better questions you ask about it, the better laws will be passed. Remember, if there is something that people are not knowledgeable about, the politicians who are in charge of passing laws, they do it with ease, very comfortably, like digital currencies and digital IDs. If people didn't take action as quickly as they did, they didn't react as quickly as they did and as effectively as they did, they would implement those digital IDs. And again, at the end of the show, I have to remind you guys, if you are a parent, remember your job is a very hard one, and you're doing much better than you think you are.
Give me tea, give me tea, give me lots of tea. My new favorite is a box of tea. Cups of tea, pots of tea, give me lots of tea. My new favorite is a box of tea. Give me tea, give me tea, give me a box of tea. Can I please have a cup of a box of tea?
Thank you, A Box of Tea, our amazing sponsor.
Fire!
Thank you so much for watching another episode of Tea Milk to Sugars. You have spent just over 1 hour and 13 minutes. Paulette, any closing comments? And by the way, we are live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Please share your comments and views with us as well. Tell us what you think about the subject matter that we discussed. Please go ahead, Paulette.
I just think, for me, transparency is going to be key. So it's not just about parents understanding what they're signing, parents being aware of the documentation side of things. There has to be a transparency, an absolute clear understanding of what is going to be expected of your child, what's going to be collected on your child, and what's going to happen to that information on your child. And then the next thing about that is, when you have accountability, the public speak. Like Cyrus said, the public said, we don't want this ID system. The world suddenly came to a bit of a standstill and the Prime Minister's gone. I mean, it really was as simple as that. There was such an outcry. I think AI systems that are being used in school should be independently audited. They should have a clear explanation and a feasible outcome. And finally, when children's futures are involved, openness should be the default and secrecy the rare exception. And for me, this whole AI story is not scary in the AI, as Cyrus said, we use it every day. But when it suddenly affects our children, and our children are not there to have an opinion, yes or no, they're told, put the headset on, do this, do that, do the other. I believe that's when it becomes scary and needs to be addressed. And that's when these documentation starts to come in and we start to understand what on earth is going on. So the answer is use your own mind, your own eyes. If you're not sure of what you're signing, speak to other parents, get a group together, try and work through it together. And if you're still not sure, get someone who is AI very advanced in the way of a legal person and get them to go through it for you. Don't be scared to ask questions. The biggest learning I've had from all of this is if I hadn't have got these list of questions, I would never have made my mind go to dark places. So I blame Cyrus for a lot of these questions because it's made my mind go to some dark places. But I'm glad because I'm more aware. Okay, I'm more aware. But as a parent, am I scared? No, I'm aware. And I want you to be as aware. Your intuition, your feeling, your gut, you know your child. Make sure that no one else is judging your child in a different way because of some bloody algorithm. Sorry, I swore.
No, that's fine. So, Paulette, can you please, first of all, thank you so much for everything you contributed to the show. Our friends, literally from around the globe, are sending in their questions, and some of the emails they send, like I said before, is very kind. Some of them, I got a few angry emails as well. Like, it's fine. As long as we talk about what is on our minds, okay, as long as we talk about that and we illuminate other minds as well, right, it's fine. At the end of the day, we all have different views. The things that we are the things that we are saying on this show are not absolute. It could be right, could be wrong. You go ahead and do your own research, right? And I hope you come to the right conclusions. But the main thing is, we made you search that. This show made you search it, right? The important thing is you having your knowledge about it, right? That's the main bit. What me and Paulette are saying is what me and Paulette are saying. What do you think? You do your own research. We're talking about your child. Okay, your child should matter to you than mine and Paulette's opinions, right? You go ahead and do your own. You don't Google things, right? Just do a bit of research. I'm sure your child is worth a little bit of your time and doing a little bit of research, right? And there are parents out there who don't have time to actually do these searches. That's why they go to podcasts and gather the knowledge from here and there. I'm one of them. I do research, but I also go to different podcasts as well. Why? Because it's not just information. It's not just information. It's how people interpret that as well. Because there's always someone who can interpret and decipher better than I can. That's why I came to you, Paulette. That's why you are on this show, right? So, can you please, as your closing comments, could you please explain a little bit about how Jack and Walter, specifically New School Niggles, can help children and what problems with?
Yeah, Jack and Walter is always about it's a solution provider. Jack is the subconscious mind, the mind that's all over the place, can't make a decision, will take you down the wrong road, will get you involved in trouble, all that kind of stuff. And then Walter is the conscious mind that says, hey, 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 you know, that's not right. That's not what we should do. We've been told better. So we try to teach the children, what would Walter do? And what would Walter do is basically a way of putting a stop. So something happens, before I punch him, before I do this, before I do all that spontaneous stuff, what would Walter do is a box breathing exercise. And it stops the child in its tracks and it says, oh, hang on a minute, I'm going to just check in. And Walter says, then do it, you'll get suspended. And you know you've already been suspended. Walk away. And it's like, but I'm so angry. Yeah, walk away. But it's the child understanding. It's having an inner conversation with itself. It's solving a problem. Without anybody else around them, it's solving a problem. So Jack and Walter in New School Niggles is all about this child who is absolutely almost frozen before he walks through that door. He is terrified of that new classroom. He is so scared of where the loos will be. What if he needs a wee and doesn't know where to go? There are so many fears running through his mind. He can't think straight. Jack and Walter in New School Nerds is teaching children how to problem solve, how to actually understand that, yeah, it's scary, but there's always going to be scary stuff. And the good news is that you will meet friends and it will be okay. And you can tell your child that, but your child won't believe you because the fears will overcome what you say. But they read the book tells them it's going to be okay. Guess what? They'll skip into school. They may still have some trepidation, but they'll still feel, I've got this. And they'll have their water card in their pocket that tells them, be strong, be brave, you've got this. And then they walk into school feeling like they're an army, not a little scared child. That's what the premise is.
Thank you so much, Paulette. I'd like to thank all of my friends and family who have been watching the show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. As I always say, you could spend your time anywhere, but you chose to spend it with us, and I'm grateful. We are grateful. So, see you guys in the next one. Take good care of yourselves, please.